Hi! Before we get into the episode, here's a quick update. I have some great news for all premium subscribers of The Ken. You can now listen to all of our paywalled podcasts directly on Spotify. By the way, we at The Ken are the first organization in India to launch our premium shows on Spotify. And unlocking them is super easy. Open any logged episode of one of the Ken's podcasts on Spotify, tap the lock icon, link your Ken Premium account, and that's it. Takes about 30 seconds, maybe 20 if you're a pro tapper. After that, the entire library opens up to you. 2x2, zero shot, first principles, 90,000 hours, make India competitive again, everything. And if you want a step-by-step guide of how to do this, check out the link to a guide in the show notes below. Now, back to the episode. Anand Chandra has spent 21 years in agriculture. But he says the last year and a half have been the worst he's ever seen for the sector. Chandra is the co-founder of Arya AG, an agri-tech company. The company's business model is simple. They store grains for small farmers and use that as collateral for loans. It's supposed to ease farmers' dependence on local money lenders. Arya has been running this model successfully for 12 years now. In fact, it handles about 2 to 3% of India's total grain across 22 states. But this year, both Chandra and the farmers have been hit by price crashes. Agricultural prices are currently at 5-year lows, with no end in sight. 2 years ago, wheat used to sell for 4,000 rupees per quintal. Right now, it's just about 2,600. It's the same story for rice and soybeans, and all the grains in Arya's warehouses. With each price drop, all the stored grains lose value. One of the farmers who uses Arya is wheat farmer Himanshu Upadhyay. My colleague at the Ken, Pranati, met him earlier this month. He told her that he got nervous every time he had to visit the moneylender. Moneylenders generally charge an interest of 36%. If a farmer misses a payment, the interest compounds. Or worse, the moneylender could seize his land. On the other hand, traditional banks wouldn't touch a customer like Himanshu either. But Arya still bet on him. Whenever Himanshu deposits his wheat, money hits his account. There's no paperwork, no wait. The interest is 12 to 14%, which is higher than a bank's average charge of 9 to 10%, but still lower than what moneylenders demand. Arya is now valued at over $300 million. It's raising from investors like Omnivore and Blue Earth. Last year, revenue rose by nearly 40% to almost 6,000 crore rupees. Net profit also jumped by 70%. But the price crash in agricultural commodities has raised a larger question. How will Arya, which calls itself India's largest integrated grain commerce platform, manage profits? Welcome to Daybreak, a business podcast from The Ken. I'm your host, Rachel Verghese, and every day of the week, my co-host Snigdha Sharma and I will bring you one news story that is worth understanding and worth your time. Today is Monday, the 24th of November. In Mathura, Pranati visited Arya's warehouse. It's filled with bags, a total of 2,000 metric tons of grain. Each bag represents a farmer who chose to wait for better prices instead of selling at harvest time. The 13,000 square foot warehouse is stacked with wheat bags to the ceiling, which is a deliberate choice to prevent moisture. The temperature inside is noticeably cooler. Pawan Sharma is the warehouse manager. He told Pranati that he checks every stack for dampness daily. He said that it could take just one mistake to destroy a farmer's entire harvest. Arya has 3 divisions. Arya Dhan is the lending arm. Arya Tech handles technology. And Arya Collateral manages the warehouses. Back in 2013, the co-founders Chandra Prasanna Rao and Chattanathan Devarajan acquired Arya Collateral, which was then a dormant company. The challenge was to build something that banks couldn't. They wanted to serve small farmers with tiny loan amounts in remote locations and at speeds that matched local money lenders, all while maintaining bank like asset quality. Warehouses like the one Pranati visited are at the center of this model. Instead of building warehouses, Arya AG simply leases thousands of underutilized ones. The playbook: partner, formalize, digitize, and manage. Right now, the company directly runs 4,000 warehouses, while another 7,000 are listed on its platform. Co founder Prasanna Rao got the idea from his time at ICICI Bank, where he headed the agri commodity finance business. Rao was part of the team that launched warehouse receipt financing back in 2004. Large traders would buy crops at super cheap prices and then store them in bank warehouses. Then they would take loans averaging 2 to 2.5 crore rupees against them. But Rao was not satisfied. He wondered why only a third of India's agricultural produce reached the urban markets. What about the other two thirds sold in primary markets? Sellers there are small farmers, not large traders with established credit histories. Ticket sizes drop to 20 lakh rupees in these markets. That's only a tenth of what banks offer, which means banks weren't interested in this market. So that's where Arya AG steps in. The company has partnered with about 30 banks, including ICICI, HDFC, and Axis. Arya disbursed 14,000 crore rupees in loans last year. Out of this, 10,000 crore rupees came from banks. The rest came from its own lending arm. Arya is first and foremost a services platform. About 55% of revenue comes from services like storage and platform fees. Only 25% comes from lending. For farmers, this model has brought quick commerce to villages. Not for milk, vegetables, or soap, but for loans. More on this in the next segment. Hi, I'm pausing this episode to ask you a very quick question. What's your best AI prompt? One you're actually kind of proud of. It saves you time and it does exactly what you need it to do. Why do we ask? Well, let's be honest. There's a learning curve with AI, and most of us are still figuring it out. So, we are running a short survey to ask you to share your tried and tested hacks. You share your prompt, you get a chance to be featured in one of our episodes, and you get to hear from others like you. All the productive, efficient folks out there who are making AI work for them. The link is in the show notes. It will take you just 5 minutes. We can't wait to hear from you. Now, back to the episode. Remember Himanshu, the farmer we met earlier? He told us that the whole process takes less than 7 minutes. AI-enabled scanners assess grain quality. They also measure moisture and foreign particles to determine market value. Then, they calculate a loan worth 60 to 75% of the grain's value. Money soon gets credited to the farmer's account. It's all digital, Aadhaar based and OTP verified. The speed isn't a gimmick, it's a necessity. It's why farmers go to moneylenders despite having to pay 36% interest. They need the money immediately, not in the weeks or months that banks take. This 7-minute process triggers three separate revenue streams for Arya. First, storage charges of 70 to 80 rupees per metric ton per month. Second, a loan interest of 12 to 14% if it is disbursed through Arya's lending arm, and a fee of 1% if it's through partnered banks. Third, a fee of 0.75% when partners sell directly through Arya's platform. Over the years, Arya has gotten smarter about reaching farmers. Instead of approaching individuals, they work with 2,000 FPOs, or farmer producer organizations across the country. Each represents about 500 to 800 farmers. This is convenient for both Arya and the farmers. It lets them pool costs and increase bargaining power with potential buyers. Banks, on the other hand, have reportedly covered only 8 to 9% of India's 45,000 FPOs. Neetu, a 42-year-old farmer, used to sell immediately after harvest because she needed the cash. Traders would often lowball her. They'd offer 2,400 rupees per quintal, even though everyone knew prices would hit 2,800 in a month or so. But Neetu had no choice but to sell. She had to pay for her kids' school fees and buy seeds for the next season. Now, her FPO aggregates 750 women across 30 villages. They take a loan from Arya AG and pay farmers immediately. Preeti Sharma, another FPO member, said it works almost like a salary. They don't need moneylender loans anymore. Each woman has bought shares in the FPO. When the produce is sold, profits are divided equally among members. Mathura Mant, an FPO, has made over 2 crore rupees in profit in just 6 months by storing when prices are low and selling when they rise. The system lets farmers earn 5 to 10% more than selling to local traders. The head of Mathura Mant, Pooja Sharma, said post harvest losses have dropped to almost zero from the usual 16 to 40%. When farmers are ready to sell, Arya's platform connects them to processors in cities like Delhi and Mumbai. Rao told us that when the money comes to Arya's account first, the loan gets settled automatically. Then the rest goes back to the farmers. It means they're no longer dependent on the farmer's cash flow. That explains why the company's non performing assets are at just 0.5%. But this model is now being stress tested by the cutthroat agricultural commodity pricing. Stay tuned. Agricultural prices have hit record lows over the last year and a half. After a brief spike in 2022 over the Russia Ukraine war concerns, prices fell and then kept falling. Strong wheat production in Russia and Australia, plus India's excess rice stocks, have brought down global prices. And India is not immune. Arya's overdue accounts have tripled from 3% to 9%. Co founder Chandra said that recovery cycles that were 60 days have stretched to 90 days now. The company had a profitable year in FY25, but the real test comes this year, in FY26. Some decisions are up to the farmers, like when to sell. Arya only adjusts the loan to value ratio at storage time. If commodity prices are at 80 rupees instead of 100, they'll loan 56 rupees instead of 70. But if prices fall too far and loans exceed collateral value, Arya's team nudges farmers to sell faster. But farmers aren't always able to weather crises. And here is where Arya doesn't quite live up to the hype. Prashant, a wheat farmer, said that farmers using Arya save about 15%. A farming household's monthly income is around 14,000 rupees. After expenses, farmers typically save about 2,000 rupees. That comes up to roughly 65 rupees per day. During good times, this works. Loans get repaid, a little money is made, and the cycle continues. But 4 farmers told us that during the last year and a half, savings have dropped to almost zero. In fact, Prashant said that farmers are actually renting out land just to afford cattle for milk. Ramesh Kumar is another farmer who owns 5 acres of farmland. He said that while the lower interest does help, he doesn't see the point. Instead of paying the moneylender 30,000 rupees, he pays Arya 12,000. But when the revenue has dropped by 70,000 rupees, he wonders what difference 18,000 rupees makes. With or without Arya, farmers get fewer loans during price crashes. And unless prices rise, many will be forced to sell at these low costs. So, farmers like Himanshu do have a semblance of agency now. But without any solid fixes in sight for the tanking agricultural prices, it remains to be seen whether that agency is actually of any help.
Daybreak is produced from the newsroom of The Ken, India's first subscriber-focused business news platform. What you're listening to is just a small sample of our subscriber-only offerings. A full subscription offers daily long-form feature stories, newsletters, and a whole bunch of premium podcasts. To subscribe, head to theken.com and click on the red subscribe button on the top of the Ken website. Today's episode was hosted and produced by my colleague Rachel Varghese and edited by Rajiv Sien.